Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Walk of Shame for UFC 236. So actually, let me go ahead before we start really getting into it. Let me go ahead and put the little link on Twitter just to tell folks that we are in fact live right now. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. When we knew that there was going to be a card that featured Kelvin Gastelum and Israel Adesanya in a scheduled 5-round fight, which was going to be immediately followed by a scheduled 5-round fight between Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier. We knew it was going to be great. We knew that, like, you'd have to be stupid to think otherwise. Man, that delivered beyond my wildest expectations right there. That truly delivered. And I know a lot of people want to see finishes, and we came close to seeing a couple of finishes in both fights. So the action for sure was there. But I always value 5-round fights that go to a decision when I'm talking about my all-time favorite fights. Like, I'm thinking Shogun Hendo. I'm thinking Jones Gus 1. I'm thinking granted it went to the 5th, but it didn't go to the distance. Robbie Rory 2. I'm thinking that I like to see the fight play out over an extended period of time, and we get a good idea for how these guys respond to all this different stimulus. Man, this was amazing. So, all right, let's just jump in right now and talk about the main event, which of course was Max Holloway moving up to lightweight to take on Dustin Poirier for the interim lightweight championship. Dustin Poirier is now your interim lightweight champ. So dope fight all around, man. I picked Holloway to win this fight, and I know a lot of us did. A whole lot of people did. And I'm not, I don't want to walk down anything that I said in that fight, but I'll say this: where I was wrong at, I just did not think that Poirier's power was going to play as much of a factor. I did not think he'd be able to sustain that pace. I mean, through the fight, if you followed me along on Twitter during this, I really thought that there, and I think there were points where I was kind of right, but it just didn't play to full fruition. I thought that Max Holloway was starting to pick up steam in certain spots. I mean, he is a guy who operates like a snowball rolling down a hill and just gets bigger and just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, he's not the guy who's just going to be one note and just attack and then that's it. Like, he builds up steam and he builds up this momentum to where you're just drowning. It's like you're treading water in the middle of the ocean, and you paddle away furiously. And at some point, those arms and those legs give out, and then you drown. And that's what I thought was starting to happen. But Dustin Poirier's power was such a game changer. It was such an incredible game changer because he was not only able to get his power off in the early portions where you think Max Holloway is the most vulnerable. I mean, let's keep in mind that Aldo, at least in their first fight, I'm not quite remembering the second as well because I was on my honeymoon actually during the second fight. But on that first fight, Aldo was able to hurt Holloway early. And then we saw what happened. We saw what that led to. So this is kind of what I thought was going on. But, man, that difference of power at 145 and 155 is tremendous. Like, 10 pounds makes a difference. Size does matter, ladies and gentlemen. Size definitely matters. So he was able to get overwhelmed with Holloway's volume striking, that sort of pity pat, just distract you, just bother you, just pester you and not let you take a full breath. He was able to deal with that, and he had enough power to where he would throw those counter shots that typically wouldn't do much, but they were able to stop Holloway in his tracks and kind of push him back and kind of make him think twice about what he was doing. All credit to Holloway for thinking twice and then deciding to just keep doing that and just biting down on his mouth guard and not stopping. I mean, that was amazing. All right, so I'm gonna take a couple of comments we got here in the chat from the homie Fugatti. He says both fights were so damn good. Poirier kept stopping. Max did in his tracks when he was coming forward. Yeah, I mean, he was, and it was notable, man. To stop the momentum that Holloway has is tremendous. It is absolutely tremendous. All right. And this Rev says Poirier leaves with a deserved belt, interim or not. Holloway keeps his belt in a hell of a scrap, win-win situation, not to mention the co-main event. Yeah. I don't think you really can ask for much more than that. I don't think you can want anything more than what you saw out of that main event. And of course, we damn sure going to talk about that co-main event. But yeah, as far as the main event, so let me start talking a little bit more specifically here. Refer to my notes. So my scorecard was 48-46. If I'm remembering this correctly, let me double check, make sure that I'm right about that. I think the judges saw it this same. I have not had a chance to look at the actual scorecards. I have to check my email and see if they sent it to me or not. But let's see. No, I don't see what the each individual judge scored, but I think they all went 48-46. I had the first round a 10-8 in favor of Poirier, obviously. Second round, Poirier 10-9. I had Holloway winning rounds 3 and 4 10-9, and then Poirier winning round 5 10-9. So yeah, that's how I came to that. And I'm not really mad about anybody's scorecards on this being slightly different. I saw one person saying that they thought Holloway won 40-47, I think was the scorecard that I read. And it's a guy whose opinion, for the most part, I trust on some of this stuff, but I can't subscribe to that. But these scorecards were going to be all over the place. When you've got a possible 10-8 round, you've got a swing round in round 4. I mean, I know some people scored that for Dustin because of that knee that just opened up Holloway's face. Hey, more power to you. I'm not mad at that at all. Man, just an amazing fight, and as Rev said, this is a win-win situation for the UFC because you still have Max Holloway with that belt. He's still a dominant champion at 145. This fight does not hurt his brand, does not hurt his stock in the least bit, not at all. And then you've got Poirier, who is a guy you can market, man. This is a guy who's been kind of like a low-key cult figure star in mixed martial arts for years. Like, I can't remember what year it was that Fightville documentary came out, but man, Dustin Poirier has been on the radar for a long time, a very long time. Beyond the Fightville documentary, man, the guy who spoiled Josh Grispy's only chance to win a belt. Nuts, man. Like this, like Dustin Poirier now, of course, with his history with other guys at 155, the fact that he still has fresh matchups there too. Like this just opens up a world of possibility. So right now, I've heard someone speculate this, and I'm very curious as to what the Twitter traffic is looking like on homie's his page. But if you're Conor McGregor, you're sitting around, you're picking out your fight to return in, and if he's trying to make that summer return, if Dustin will be healed up in time and able to get a full camp in for like a late summer meeting with Conor McGregor, I know he would not turn that one down at all. And the winner of that fight in Khabib, I wouldn't doubt that one single bit. Tony Ferguson is out there too now. Now he's saying that he's been cleared to fight. So that is a world of possibility going on right now with Dustin Poirier. All right, so from a technical standpoint, it just really shocked me. Once again, just that power, man. I'm sorry if I'm a little all over the place, but my nerves are genuinely shot right now. I need my whiskey right now. Need my whiskey. Goddamn, that was crazy. All right, so go ahead, throw whatever comments you want in the chat, and we'll double back around and explore any territory that we left out. But let's go ahead and talk about that co-main event. That co-main event with Israel Adesanya now being crowned as the interim middleweight champion over Kelvin Gastelum in a superbly fought, hard decision win right there. Man, oh man. You talk about You talk about something that's purely classic. Like, that is an instant classic. I don't care what anyone says. When you're talking about the all-time great fights in mixed martial arts history, this fight has to be mentioned now. That's it. I don't care that I'm in the moment. This is a fight that is going to age just like that. This fight was so wildly all over the place, as far as the swings and momentum, as far as the war of attrition, yet still so technical. I don't think you can complain about this fight in the least bit and call yourself a fan of mixed martial arts in any way, shape, or form. You just can't. So let's run down my scorecard for this one. I had 10-9 Kelvin Gastelum in the first, of course, because of the knockdown. He seemed to have more control over that round. 10-9 for Adesanya in the following. 10-9 for Adesanya after that. Fourth round gave a 10-9 to Gastelum, and then a 10-8 for Adesanya to close such a tough fight. Such a war of attrition with a 10-8 is nuts. That's just nuts. Man, and the thing is, this fight was so strange to me because I think we have very clear evidence, not just because of the win. I'm not saying this merely because of the win, that Israel Adesanya is the much more skilled fighter. Now, of course, Gastelum has more wrestling credentials. I'm sure if in a pure grappling tournament, Gastelum would get the better of Adesanya. But in mixed martial arts, Adesanya, I think, proved himself to be the superior fighter. But it didn't matter a lot of times. I mean, this is stuff we knew coming into it. We knew that Adesanya was the far superior striker. We knew going into this that Gastelum would probably have a tough time getting him down and keeping him down. We knew all of this coming into this fight. We knew that he'd have trouble closing the distance and getting the clinches that probably were necessary to slow this fight down into the pace that would better suit him, or to make it an ugly brawl and speed up the pace in a way that would better suit him. We knew all this coming in, but it just didn't matter because Gastelum's power is such a game changer. Gastelum's power is one of those things that makes a seasoned striker like Adesanya think twice about what he's doing. The cool thing about a superb striker in mixed martial arts is that they don't have to think but so much about that striking. They don't have to think but so much, man. It just comes to them. It's just there. It's presented. It's almost like they see things in slow motion. They have a feel for that. They see the shoulder dip. They see all sorts of little things that turn into data that gets processed and calculated into an equation that results in you getting your ass whooped. That's typically what you see. But Gastelum has the sort of power that makes you say, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure about that. And you saw these moments. You saw these moments like in that first round when Adesanya, I mean, the guy's got charisma out of this world, and it follows him in that cage when he's just so cool and laid back. Those punches are coming, and he just wants to get that slick head movement going, lean back, and look kind of cool while he's doing it. Yeah, he tried that. He tried that in that first round. That shit ain't worked too well. He got pieced up a couple times, man. He felt that power, and then he started thinking about it. He started thinking about what he was going to do. It took him to, in that second round, to start really downloading enough information about Gastelum's habits for him to formulate enough confidence to fight like he wants to fight, to not think about the next strike coming and just let it come. You know, and that was masterful to watch. That was just straight masterful to watch, man. You see where he would lean out and just come in with that pull counter, they dip out, and that boom boom, that 1-2 real fast on him. Man, that was something else. You know what? I just realized too, my screen is in reverse. So I'll go ahead and flip that. But yeah, man. Is that it? No, here we go. Here we go. That's it. Actually, I like it the other way. I like it the other way. That's better. Anyway, I don't care. But yeah, man. I really think that that we saw Adesanya have to process this information and then figure out what was the best course of action, because his initial approach was just not working. Like, Gastelum was closing that distance way too quick. His power was probably a little more than he anticipated. Gastelum was sneaking in a lot of good body shots as well. So then you got to start worrying about your gas tank. If you start getting hit to the body too much, Gastelum just gave him a lot to process, and it didn't take him long to process it. But once he processed it, Gastelum turned it up a notch. You know, when he suddenly dropped levels for that takedown, I think that was in the 3rd round, if I'm not mistaken, that he just took him down and then really gave him some more information to think about. Just totally nuts, man. So all right, so let me go ahead to the chat. Poor Man Soul says, let me troll real quick. Boo Gastelum, boo. Yeah, that's definitely a troll job. Yeah, nobody's mad at Gastelum for this one. And then he says, Gastelum got his heart sucked out of his chest. Don't care how much stamina he has. Folded at the end because Stylebender wanted it more. You know what? I'm not mad at that take, but I can't agree with that. Gastelum definitely had his stamina sucked dry through this. Like, he had his stamina just wiped clean out of him by the end of that fight. But I don't think it was a matter of Israel just wanting it more, man. Gastelum and Gastelum definitely didn't get his heart taken from him in that. Gastelum kept going. He did not quit. He did not stop at all. If anything, man, he showed too much heart in there. I mean, you could have stopped that fight in the closing seconds. You could have. That very well could have been a TKO, a TKO win for Stylebender. Very well could have been. Yeah, man. I don't think this was a matter of heart lacking. It was just a matter of Adesanya turning up the skill level a notch and having enough information and being able to deal with it in real time. I think that's what you saw, because, you know, at the end of the day, Gastelum can have all the heart in the world. Gastelum can have cardio for days and everything. But when you're talking about a striker the level of Israel Adesanya, and you're talking about a striker like Kelvin Gastelum, he has the power. And that's kind of it. Other than the power, he's got that 1-2-3. That 1-2-3. And you did see, in that first round, he was trying to set up Adesanya to dip out to the power side. And then I think in the first round, he also was trying to time some uppercuts when Adesanya was kind of dipping his head low. So he tried that uppercut, and that obviously didn't work out. But Gastelum did not. And as great of a coach as Javier Cordero is, I think when you're dealing with the skill set that Adesanya has, and you're dealing with the skill set that Gastelum has, that's kind of what's going to happen. The better guy is going to win, even if the other guy has that game-changing power, enough to at least make you pause and think about what your next step is. Let's see. All right, he says, Stylebender, Gastelum couldn't weather the storm, truly got saved by the horn. Yeah, he did. But, I mean, can you blame him? 24 minutes and 45 seconds of pure war. Yeah, 15, 20 seconds of it. Yeah, he wasn't quite what he was, but he didn't quit. He didn't quit at all. Said Stylebender will not be unstoppable like a computer that has downloaded new data. Now knows how to absorb shots at a high level. It's over for everyone else. I think you mean Stylebender will be unstoppable. You know what? I'm not quite so sure about that, man. I still want to see how he matches up against. I want to see him up against a Yoel Romero. I'd love to see how. Although I really wish Romero goes up to 205, but that's another story. But I'm very interested at if Luke Rockhold was still at 205. Excuse me, at 185. I'd wonder about that as well. Let's not forget about Robert Whittaker. And Robert Whittaker is not a guy who has basic striking skills. Robert Whittaker is a guy who, while he may not have the flair of Israel Adesanya, he has a lot of very sophisticated things in his striking arsenal. Oh, and by the way, he is a grossly underrated grappler. So when you've seen Israel Adesanya fight some of these guys, you're seeing guys who might be good grapplers. They might be okay strikers. And Derek Brunson, you saw a guy who was not a good striker, but a great grappler. And you see what happens there. Against Anderson Silva, you saw a great striker without any offensive wrestling that you need to worry about. So if you put Robert Whittaker in front of Israel Adesanya, man, I don't know what to expect in that. Yeah, I would say, yes, Adesanya is the better pure striker, but is that going to matter? Is it really going to matter? We saw Adesanya as the better pure striker against the heavy hitting of Gastelum tonight, and we saw him get in trouble several times. You know, this is Adesanya is special. Yes, I'm not going to I'm not going to doubt that in at all in one bit about that. But so is Robert Whittaker. You know, if we see Robert Whittaker healthy, we're going to have probably another all-time great fight if it plays out with both of these guys at the best of their abilities. That wouldn't shock me in the least bit. Let's see what else says. Wasn't a lot of skill toward the end. I definitely disagree there. Gastelum visibly gassed, started eating shots from style, but his cardio and chin failed him in the end. Yeah, in the end of a 25-minute fight. So I can't take anything away from him on that end. Too long for Yoel Romero. He'll gas out, too top heavy. What's wrong with these guys that try to hulk up? It's just dead weight in late rounds. The thing is, Romero's been built like that forever. Like forever. So, I mean, you look at his earliest MMA fights, man, when he got that crazy like ankle pick takedown and just grabbed the guy's foot and yanked him up and he damn near flipped. I mean, he was jacked like that then. He's always been this build. So I don't think that's really going to be an issue. He's used to it by now. But also Romero is, he might gas out, but he still will mess you up. Romero is not the guy who, when he gets tired, you don't have anything to worry about. That's just not the case at all. And we've got tons of evidence to prove that. Romero is kind of like everyone's kryptonite, I think. Can he make 185 is the question, but yeah, he's not dead weight in the late rounds. I can't co-sign that one bit. But yeah, man, Adesanya with Adesanya and Kelvin Gastelum just gave us an all-time great. They just did. I don't think there's any way around seeing it that way. If you disagree with that, if anybody disagrees with that, I don't know what to tell you, man. I honestly don't think you'll be able to find 10 fights, maybe 15, that are better than that. I don't think you will. And I am more than open to that discussion, and maybe I'm wrong. But hey, the hell with it, man. That was an amazing fight. All right, so I'm sure we'll revisit that if more comments come in on the chat. But let's talk about Khalil Roundtree and Eric Anders. Man, I get so tired of having this conversation, talking about MMA. I'm so tired of this conversation. And chances are when I write my column tonight for Sherdog, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, I'm probably going to talk about it again. But, man, can we get some corner stoppages in this sport? Can we please do that? Does any corner give a rat's ass about their fighter enough to save them from themselves? Please, somebody. Because there is no reason why Eric Anders should have been out there for that third round. That's nuts. That's inexcusable. The only reason why this fight got to decision, I think, is because Khalil Roundtree just let him. He had his way every step of the way in this fight. Every single step of the way. I take nothing away from Eric Anders for being a warrior and going out on his shield. That's what we want to see in fighters. But officials and corners exist for a reason. You got to protect the fighter from themselves. Please protect the fighters from themselves. I don't think this is an outlandish request here. We see this way too often in mixed martial arts, and I'm really tired of seeing it. It's really scary sometimes, man. There's no reason why he should have been out there. But all right, so let's break this down. All right, I had for round one, I had that at 10-9 for Roundtree. Obviously, I mean, the moment he came out with that Thai stance, I mean, like knowing that he relocated to Tiger Muay Thai in Thailand, typically when a guy goes to a new camp, his first fight from that camp, things aren't really put together. He typically will look like he did before, maybe with a couple wrinkles here and there, but you're not really going to see necessarily a whole lot of variation on that first fight in the new camp. But shit, man, I mean, Thailand must be the spot, because dude came in there with the legit Thai stance with the toe barely touching and the guard way up. Like, he had the traditional Thai stance and he used it so effectively. Those kicks were lightning fast, and he was eating that leg up. He was eating it up without any worries, like just with pure impunity. He had literally nothing to worry about as he's destroying that leg. So then by the second round, which I scored a 10-7, by the way, the last time I can clearly remember scoring a 10-7 round, I think was round one of Frankie Edgar versus Gray Maynard 2. I think that's the last time, and maybe I'm forgetting. I know there was one fight that was, I want to say it was UFC 215. It was Gavin Tucker and Rick Glenn that I might have scored a 10-7 in one of those rounds or something, because it was an atrocious beatdown, which should have been stopped by the corner as well. But this was, oh man, this was ugly to watch. Like, he destroyed that leg so mercilessly. And then once he stopped focusing on the leg, and Anders is so worried about that leg that he started bringing the kicks to the body. He started throwing the hands. You saw him go from that high guard and the light touch of the front leg on the Thai stance. He just instantly morphed into the boxing stance and put that front foot down and sat down on his punches, on some serious power punches against the fence. What, he dropped him 4 times in that round? 4 times in that round, and the man probably looked like he could barely walk. Where was the corner? Now, I get the official not stopping it in that instance, because he wasn't in grave danger in a lot of those spots. Like, Roundtree, it's like when he knocked him down a couple times, he followed up a little bit, but he didn't go balls to the walls. He didn't, immediately let him back up and then just brutalize him with more and more power and try to like kill the guy. And Anders was doing just enough to justify the ref not stepping in himself. But the corner has to know better than that. The corner just has to know, because this is, a leg kick isn't going to cause you life-changing brain trauma, but it does compromise your ability to stand up, and fight. So kind of where the corner should step in there. Don't you think there, gentlemen? I can't get over how disgusted I am by cornermen in mixed martial arts not stopping fights soon enough. I have some experience working a corner, a few times for fighter back home, man. And there was one fight that he had that he lost that was pretty bad. And one of my deepest regrets is not stopping that thing. And I wasn't the chief cornerman for this one, so I did not have the towel that you're supposed to throw and stop the fight or whatever. Man, if I could relive that day, I'd snatch that damn towel and thrown it in myself. Okay, I just wish the cornerman cared enough. And this, when last time I felt, I don't want to say, I guess last time I felt this disgusted by the corner in particular, that I lashed out so vividly, besides the Glenn Tucker fight, and I'm sure it was one or two others. But man, JDS in the 2 Kane fights, Kane 2 and 3, that was worth just saying screw this corner. You gotta. I hope Anders takes that lesson and he goes somewhere else with a camp that actually gives a damn about his well-being and will protect him from himself, because that's inexcusable. Yeah, there's some questions need to be answered about that one. So, all right, so we'll move on to Dwight Grant versus Alan Jouban. Not really much to say about this fight. I mean, it definitely was not the fight that we thought it would be. Grant winning a split decision. I agree with the judges on that one. I had it 29-28 for Grant. And I could understand, I guess, if you gave it to Jouban, but really, how much did he land? You know, we talk about forward pressure in mixed martial arts. We talk about cage control. And I think we value that too much, man. Part of cage control is actually hitting the guy, actually trying to put offense in. When you're throwing single strikes and you're just walking forward and not necessarily cutting off the cage, that is not generalship of the fighting space. That is not. That's simply just walking forward and throwing a shot from time to time. Grant, on the other hand, really he really controlled the space, because he is moving around pretty much wherever he wants, and Jouban is chasing him without trying to box him in any way, shape, or form. So, but I think that's more. I think people probably looked at it that way for Jouban because they don't understand that concept. A lot of times I don't think people quite understand what they're looking at during this. So now I definitely need to address about the that 30-27 for Alan Jouban. Like, get real. Whatever judge scored that one, just please just stop. Just stop. Like, go ahead and ref basketball or something, man, or go judge figure skating. You don't belong watching mixed martial arts. If you saw the first round, especially where Jouban was getting his head damn near knocked off by these massive power shots from Grant, when you gave that to Jouban because he walked forward into punches. That is pretty bad judging, if you ask me. And yeah, don't take my word for it. I'm just a clown wearing a Suicide Squad shirt. Okay. But man, come on, do better. Please do better. Please understand what the hell you're watching before you put a badge on representing any sort of commission. That's ridiculous. At 30-27 for Jouban, please. What a joke. Whatever, man. All right, so yeah, I think that's really all I got to say about that fight. That fight was not anything to write home about. The crowd definitely made their feelings known. Nikita Krylov defeating Ovince St. Preux in the second round with a rear naked choke. Man, this was a really bad fight. A really bad fight. Man, and it just reminds me of like how trash the light heavyweight division is. The light heavyweight division is like a dumpster fire right now. Aside from Alexander Gustafsson, aside from John Jones, of course, there's really not much going on up there that warrants any real attention. What a bad fight, man! And these guys are. I'll pull up the UFC rankings as they stand right now. But how can you say that these guys are top notch in a division? Look at their rankings. So, Ovince St. Preux at number 12 in the rankings for the UFC as of today. Nikita Krylov, I guess, is out of the top 15. Will make sense that he is, but because he just came back in the organization and he lost to Jan Blachowicz in his return fight. But man, like, seriously, Overton Prue has been a guy who's hung around the top of the division for quite some time, and I think we for some reason it's almost like he still has this aura of a prospect, and I don't understand how or why. I mean, the guy's 36 years old. He's been in the UFC for quite some time now. I mean, he was in Strikeforce, and making waves there. And he's a guy who skill wise just seemed to have this arrested development where like his athleticism has stayed for the most part, but his skills have not evolved at all. And he's essentially like the same guy. So maybe we're just saying, oh, if he got it together, but he's not going to get it together. Unfortunately, he's not. He's really not. So this fight should cement that. And I think this fight with Nikita Krylov ranked outside of the top 15, I think this is the fight that bumps OSP out of hovering around relevancy at the top of the division. You know, and he makes a fine gatekeeper. He does, and there's no shame in that. He makes a fine gatekeeper, man. You can, you know, if you want to give Johnny Walker something to do, because at least according to Dana White, they're not going to rush him into anything. Although I don't think the division can stand to hold him back, but for so much longer. But excuse me, yeah, man. Give Johnny Walker OSP or something. Keep him busy. Because I think that's a fight you can safely say, like, if you got a guy who has some skill or some can match the athleticism or something like that, OSP is most likely not going to succeed in that. At least this version of OSP. Man, he gassed out in like 2 minutes. Like he straight up gassed in like 2 minutes, and had literally nothing to offer in that second round, and just essentially gave that fight away. I mean, I had him winning the first round because of the takedowns, but I think by that bell, you knew the end was nigh. I think that was pretty clear. He definitely didn't. I don't think he really showed anything that warranted notice of concern. If you're anyone else in the light heavyweight division, I don't think he did. So it's a shame, man. But at 36 years old, like, and I can't remember what his fight before the Dominic Reyes fight was, but 2 2 finishes in a row. You know, no evolution to your game. Yeah, this is probably it, man. It probably is it. All right, so I get that wraps up the main card. I honestly was not too into a lot of these the preliminary fights, but we'll run down a little bit. Nikita Krylov, Matt Frevola, he defeats Jalen Turner, excuse me, by unanimous decision. What did I have on that fight? That was a close one. I gave it to Frevola. Well, the first round was close, but I gave it to Frevola, and that was a fight that could have been scored several different ways. I wouldn't be mad at that, but I think Frevola rightfully won that fight. Turner, man, you just, like, man, the physical gifts he has, but you got to put it together, man. You got to put it together. Like, the holes in his game are so glaring and apparent in this fight. Yeah. So Alejandra Pantoja and Wilson Hayes. Pantoja defeats Hayes in the first round by TKO. Man, that straight right down the pipe was gorgeous. That dropped Hayes. That was something else, man. Like he just seemed like he was one step ahead with the hands, just one step ahead. And Hayes, I mean, being the smaller guy and the smaller frame guy, he doesn't have the length and everything. When you're dealing with a striker that's definitely better than you, hard to close that distance. Hard to close that distance, man. So yeah, tough break for Wilson Hayes, but very good win for Pantoja. Wouldn't it be great if this was leading toward a flyweight title shot? I'm just saying, these 125ers, they keep going out there and proving that they put on exciting fights, and no clarity about what's going on in that division. I mean, these guys are owed something. Like Pantoja and Joe Benavidez. What's your man's name? Figueroa. that won last week or the week before or the week before last. There's some guys at 125, man, that we should really be caring about. We should be beating the drum for these guys to get title shots, man. And yeah, but Cejudo's fighting at bantamweight, and there's essentially no flyweight division. That's what's up. Okay, so next up, Max Griffin versus Zalim Imadeyev. And this was an interesting fight, man. I'll pull up my scorecards for that one. 10-8 for Max Griffin in the first because of the fence grabs. Oh, and shout out to the referee. What's his name? Allen. George Allen, I think his name is, for the quick point deduction. That's what's up, man. That is what's up. We need that no nonsense in mixed martial arts. We need that serious officiating that actually enforces the rules. But anyway, 10-8 for Max Griffin in the first round, 10-9 for him in the second, and then a 10-9 for Imadeyev in the third. Yeah, I mean, this fight was very interesting, man. That Griffin just, I guess, wrestling, which is definitely not something that he wants to do, but him wrestling Imadeyev definitely gassed him out pretty quickly. He by the like the middle of the second round, man, it was like he had nothing. He really had nothing. I'm surprised that he was able to survive, really. But also, Imadeyev himself was horribly inefficient with his energy, horribly inefficient with his shot selection. I mean, he was just spamming spinning moves the entire time. Like he legit looked like a video game. Like it looked like a creator fighter on EA Sports UFC game. Like that's how my character fights. Spin kicks all day long because they look cool. Like that's the feeling I got, man. And Griffin, even while he was tired, was able to catch his timing. He was able to duck under and get a few takedowns, or at least jam him up and just kind of stifle that game. Yeah, man, I really don't know what to say about this one, man. But it's good to see Max Griffin win a close decision, especially after that Thiago Alves fight, which, in my opinion, he very clearly won, but was robbed in Brazil. So definitely would hate to see him lose two close decisions like that in a row. And let's see. Okay, so round one, 25 seconds into round one. Excuse me. Khalid Taha defeats Boston Sam. It's not Salmon. I guess it's Salman. Okay, but Taha, man, definitely shut that hype train down, man. Just when the commentary was about to talk about how Boston has this extensive boxing background and he fought Errol Spence once, and this was it, man. Whoa, they quieted that talk real fast when your man got pieced up. So yeah, Khalid definitely played spoiler in that one. All right, Bilal Muhammad and Curtis Millender. I really did enjoy this fight. I did enjoy this fight. And Bilal Muhammad wins a decision against Curtis Millender. Curtis Millender now has dropped 2 in a row. His last fight, I think it was last month, and it was really recent. I think that was the JDS Derek Lewis card where he lost to Easy Dos Santos. So definitely a tough break for him, man. But Curtis Millender is showing this glaring holes in his game. I mean, really eerily similar to Jalen Turner. Eerily similar. They're both guys who are tall and rangy and lanky for the divisions, both very athletically gifted, both have good power in their shots and stuff. But man, if you take them down, there is almost nothing they can do. I mean, Curtis Millender looked completely lost on the ground. He looked completely lost on the ground. And it's like, at this level, it is hard to succeed with like white belt level skills in jiu-jitsu. It is very difficult to succeed. And until that hole in his game is closed, I mean, this is going to be wasted potential. Like he needs desperate work on the ground, big time, man. And Bilal Muhammad, I like the fact that he was able to switch it up, because Bilal Muhammad is a dude who is no stranger to a firefight. Like, no stranger to a firefight at all. excuse me, like his UFC debut against Alan Jouban, like they beat each other to oblivion, and he lost that decision. Man, he's tried to smash through just about everybody he's fought, and he used very sound strategy in this. Get this fight to the ground because Melinder had literally nothing to offer. So I think that was great work by Bilal Muhammad. All right, Montel Jackson and Andre Sukumanta. Decision win for Montel Jackson. Where is my score sheet? Yeah, they had a clean sweep for Montel Jackson. Not really any big takeaways from that. Pauliana Bontello defeated Lauren Mueller by decision. Yeah, it's kind of Mueller definitely was starting to find some rhythm here and there, but Bontello just and once she slowed a little bit, but you know she did all she had to do to win that. I mean, I had her 2 rounds, the first 2 rounds of her, last round from Mueller, so kind of like too little, too late for Mueller. And then Brandon Davis gets a submission rear naked choke in the second round on Randy Costa. I mean, that fight started off ridiculous. Not really sure what happened there for a second. Like, it was blindingly fast. And then at the same time, my wife called and she needed some help with some stuff I did help her without the car. So, yeah, so I missed the finish. I came back into my apartment as the finish just wrapped up. So yeah, I'm kind of trash for that. All right, so takeaways from the evening. Like, this is one of those cards where, like, I know leading up to this card, we talked about how there wasn't a lot of name value on this aside from the 2 top fights. There were some good stuff for the hardcore fans. Definitely some good hardcore fights. Bilal Muhammad, Curtis Melinder, a hardcore fight. You know, seeing Jalen Turner and Khalil Roundtree and Anders, those fights that have hardcore appeal to them. But as far as what you want on a pay-per-view, yeah, we'll talk about some pay-per-view stuff too. What you want on a pay-per-view, it didn't have that, but man, those 2 fights at the top made up for it. Oh man, they made up for it. Now, what I'm afraid of is the UFC saying, "Oh, this was a success. Let's start booking all these cards like this now." So don't be surprised if you start seeing a couple interim fights at the top of a card and nothing of note beneath it, in the hopes, that we have something like this. You know, that's definitely a possibility. But so I definitely, as far as the broadcast goes, I am always yelling and screaming and fussing about ESPN Plus. During the prelims, there were a couple problems, a couple issues. I know some of it was like not ESPN issues, at least the streaming service, but like the production trucks or whatever, they mess up the sound, and that little shit like that doesn't bother me. No big deal. But then, as the pay-per-view was purchased, I purchased the pay-per-view without any issues whatsoever. I went on my laptop while I was watching on my PS4 app. I went on my laptop, ordered it, receipt, emailed right away, good to go. Once the main card started, I went to it without an issue at all. But then a guy who, guy that follows me on Twitter, good dude named Justin, and he starts tweeting me like, "Hey, what's going on here? Like, why can't I buy this card?" And looks like they definitely messed up something, huh? They definitely messed up something. So and then I'm seeing Michael Bisping, I'm seeing Tim Kennedy, I'm seeing like people who really should not be having this damn problem with the pay-per-view, having a problem with the pay-per-view. And it's a damn shame because for all the people, first of all, we knew that there was going to be a drop-off in the buys because you put this paywall behind a paywall, and now you've made it all digital. And the guy who's sitting on his couch on a Saturday night because his date just canceled and he needs something to do, he sees that UFC commercial, and he can't just pick up his remote and order it. So if he doesn't have a smart TV, if he doesn't have ESPN Plus, he has to go through a process of getting that on his television screen, and that right there is going to make you say, screw it. Maybe I'll watch it at a bar, or maybe I'll just go to a bar and and hang out with my boys, or go see a movie or something. You'll do, and I think there's NBA stuff going on right now too, so you can just watch anything else. But yeah, man, you would think that they would have all that in order to at least make up for the fact that you're going through all these hoops to get the pay-per-view, but I guess not, man. ESPN Plus didn't give me too many issues once I ordered the pay-per-view, but man, they gotta fix this, man. They really gotta fix this, because especially, and more so on ESPN's part, the UFC is guaranteed their money. Of course, they'll make more if the pay-per-view sell more, but they've got guaranteed money rolling in. So, but if you're ESPN, you need the UFC to succeed. You need this service to be as good as it can possibly get, because you need those subscriber dollars. Disney is also launching Disney Plus. Like, there's a lot of money that this parent company, that Disney, is sinking into streaming, and also have a stake in Hulu, if I'm remembering things correctly. So there's a lot of money being spent on streaming. Fix that, bro. Fix it. You're pissing people off. All right, so I'm super trash because I must have had my notifications all screwed up. The homie Jay of Sherdog was trying to jump in a Slack chat with me and feed me information that I was desperately trying to cling to. And yeah, so let me just read down some of the nuggets that he threw to me. Says he gave rounds 1 and 2 to Dustin and 3 to 5 to Max, but 5 was crazy close. Pride rules. Dustin wins. Not mad at that scorecard at all. I knew these scorecards were going to be all over the place. Not shocked at all. Khabib scored the main event a draw, and he said, "See you in September to Poirier. UFC confirms that's probably what's next." Wow. That is super news right there. So I still say Conor McGregor can screw this up anytime he wants. I mean, he has that sort of leverage and that sort of drawing power that his presence will just put a monkey wrench in anything that you planned. But Khabib scoring in a draw, I'm not mad at that either. I definitely saw some other people on Twitter scoring that a draw as well. And it says, can we officially kill the Jones versus Adesanya discussion for now? Yes, we can. Yes, we definitely can. Like, Adesanya and Jones is not the business, my guy. It's not it. It's not it. I mean, maybe eventually that'll be something. It damn sure ain't now. So any talk about Jones versus Adesanya or Adesanya super fights, chill that noise instantly. And before we start talking about super fights for Adesanya, how about we talk about him being the undisputed middleweight champion? Let's start there. All right, so Jay's also letting me know that my rant about the Rick Glenn Gavin Tucker fight, one judge scored it 30-24 and another 29-27. So yeah, a lot of stupidity going around. Stupidity to spare at the scoring table in mixed martial arts. Eric Anders on Twitter, yeah, I did see this. He said, I haven't had my ass whooped like that since April 21st, 1987. Good to see Eric Anders kind of taking that in stride, because yeah, that was a savage beatdown, man. And also reminded me that Cecil Peoples once said that leg kicks don't finish fights. Oh man, Cecil Peoples, he probably scored this a win for Eric Anders. Cecil Peoples sucked that much. See, Judge Anthony Maines scored the fight 30-27 for Alan Jouban. Wow. A guy named Anthony screwed up that much? Sorry, I can't get behind that. If your name is Anthony, get your shit together, please. Don't go out there spoiling the name that I done built and all this sexy with these bad scorecards. Come on, knock that off. Please knock that all the way off. All right. OSP only has 12 fighters ranked higher than him in the UFC. Is scary. Yes. OSP still being ranked in the top 15, although I don't think that's going to last once the new rankings come out. It says a lot about how bad the light heavyweight division is. Looks like, and then no shark on this, Dana White must be saying at the post-fight presser that Robert Whittaker and Adesanya, he is targeting that for Australia in September. That, I mean, that's the only place you need to have that fight. That is the only place for that fight. So yes, I want to see that. Please let Whittaker make it to the cage. Please let him make it to the cage. Shout out to the homies at Submission Radio, my boys Dennis and Casper, who do like the best coverage in Australia. Also, shout out to my man Jacob Debits of Sherdog.com as well, who will be on the ground for that, I'm sure, and to give updates from the arena. So definitely a couple people that you should be following. You should be paying attention to those three names in the MMA media field. Let's see, with a fight of the night, Adesanya versus Gastelum. Fight of the night, Poirier versus Holloway. No performance of the night bonuses. I'm very happy that both of these fights are getting recognized for fight of the night. But the idea that there's no performance bonuses issued to the undercard fighters, kind of, because Khalil Roundtree deserves something for what he did, man. Khalil Roundtree deserves a bonus check for the clinic he put on. Pantoja deserves something for what he did. That was an amazing performance, man. So yes, please, let's recognize Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway, and then Adesanya and Kelvin Gastelum. Let's recognize them, but come on, man. We can't just, the UFC's got the money. You have the money. They pay the fighters like what, reportedly like 17% of the profit of the company. Like, yeah, I'm sure you can pay another 50 grand to a couple of the guys on the undercard who it actually would be life-changing money for in some cases. Like, come on now. After them putting themselves on the line like that. Let's see. Tony Ferguson also posted, "Let's go," wanting to fight Dustin. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. And I think if Poirier heals, I mean, Poirier didn't seem like he took a whole lot of damage in this. If Poirier is healed up and ready to go sooner than later, and Khabib is still sitting out on that suspension, man, why not? Why not? If you're Dustin Poirier, you want to take that risk, why not? Maybe we will see the Tony Ferguson Khabib fight after all. And apparently, looks like Jay is also letting me know that Conor keeps tweeting at everyone and people are starting to care less. Doesn't shock me at all, but the moment they ink a fight, Conor versus anybody, out of this pool of capable lightweights, from Poirier to Khabib to Holloway, if he decides he wants to try his hand at lightweight again, or Anthony Pettis or Donald Cerrone and the Iaquinta winner, you and I included, we'll all buy it right up. So yeah, I can't say people are caring less, maybe on Twitter, but when it's official, they will love every second of it. Oh yes, and reminded me too that Rich Franklin has been inducted into the Pioneer wing of the UFC Hall of Fame. He won. He was the middleweight champion between 2005 and 2006. He last fought in 2012. I think that was a defeat against Kung Lee in Beijing, if I'm remembering that correctly, or Shanghai, if I'm remembering that correctly. But yeah, man. Rich Franklin definitely deserves the Hall of Fame induction. I have nothing bad to say about it. The only thing I can say about it is, wow, I feel like an idiot because I thought he was already in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, that's it for me. That's what I thought. So, but anyway, please, if you have enjoyed this video at all, like, subscribe, share it with your friends. I want you guys to participate in the chat. Tweet me at AntWalkerMMA as well. So what I've got coming up, I got the good, bad, and the ugly, my post-fight column for Sherdog. That should go live tomorrow. Probably start writing that as soon as I wrap this. I've got another script that I'm working on for MMA On Point. My latest script that I submitted for them, 10 Dana White quotes that didn't age well. I think that's the title of it. That is live, just went live, I think, yesterday or the day before. So go ahead and give that a watch as well. So I definitely, definitely want to thank everyone who's watching now, who watched earlier and tuned out, whatever. Hey, come back, check the replay, and tell your friends, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. So anyway, before I ramble on and waste more of your time, I'm going to get to catching up on this post-fight press conference and get to writing. I'm going to finish this whiskey. So in the meantime, you know what you got to do. You got to stay beautiful. You got to stay positive. You got to be ready for whatever the clapback cartel throws your way. And yes, through it all, you must. And I can't stress this enough. You must stay sexy. I will see you when I see you. Peace.